there are a multitude of ways to wreck these machines. I'm gonna go over a whole slew of ways, but the most important one I wanna go over first is grease the hammer appropriately. You should be greasing this hammer if you're running the machine all day long. You should be greasing this hammer 2 to 3 times a day, 6 to 7 pumps each time. There is specific hammer grease that literally says hammer grease on it, and it's in German, and then there's an English part, but this is the grease point, and 6 to 7 pumps. It's pretty simple. So do that 6 to 7 times, 2 to 3 times a day. That'll prevent from wrecking this hammer. The seals will melt and render this thing useless if you don't appropriately grease this. All right, another way that you can really damage this machine is by leaving the hammer in the up position on the mast. This whole setup altogether is a good 500–600 pounds. And if you had it up high and you started to lay the mast down to put it into travel mode, that's a lot of weight and it's really hard on this. But some of the machines that have boxes built on the back are extremely heavy. So what happens is you get a counterbalance scenario where you're out of whack. And we've literally seen it to where the machine has rolled backwards just because the sled was too high up on the mast. So make sure that whenever you're folding this thing up to get that hammer down first. All right, so what you just witnessed was me showing you another way that you could damage this machine. As you noticed, while I was coming down, that cylinder was all the way out. Well, if you were to lay it down on that cylinder, that would actually bend that. And then whenever you bend that, the seals break, hydraulic fluid goes everywhere, you're stuck in the water, essentially right there. So you have to make sure and retract that cylinder and then lay the mast down. Another way that you can damage this machine. All right, so it does look like there is a lot of play in this, and you definitely have a lot of play side to side, front to back. But another way that you can damage this machine is by operating this on a hillside steeper than 15 degrees. It's not rated to do that. That's the cutoff limit. So it gets really tipsy and unstable at anything 15 degrees and over. All right, these machines, they have a lot of distance to travel when it comes to booming out. The thing that you've got to note is if my machine was on an incline this direction, and let's say it's under 15 degrees, but let's say that it's really close to 15 degrees or even 10 degrees. If you were boomed out, the further that you boom out, the more weight that is basically getting past this track. And speaking from experience, this is why I'm telling you this right now. Another way to damage this machine is to have it boomed out too far when you're on an incline this direction. So keep in mind that anytime you're on an incline, your goal is to keep that foot as close to the machine as possible. Don't keep on scooting out and scooting out and scooting out slowly as you're doing your line of piles, because it can and will creep up on you to the point to where now your counterbalance is out of whack and you could tip the machine forward. So, all right, another way that can not necessarily damage the machine but be a complete and utter nuisance is treating this thing like it's a skid steer and just turning on a dime. If you turn these things on a dime and you're trying to sit there and do a 360-degree point turn, I'm not going to tell you that it's going to pop the tracks off every time, but it is highly likely that your tracks could pop off. When you're dealing with the HRE 5000, the two machines that we've purchased over the years, they like to pop off whenever you're putting some extreme exertion on them. And I just want to caution you that whenever you're operating this machine, to try to make slow turns. You're probably less likely to pop a track off, because when you do, it's going to take time to put it back on and be a very big nuisance to the progress of your job. There are 4 recovery points, 4 tie down points on this unit, 2 on each track, 2 on the other track. A couple things I want to mention about this is if you're tying this unit down to a trailer ready to go haul it somewhere, do not run the chain over the bumper and then into the hook. You want to make sure the chain's coming below, because there's a lot of tension and it basically can either dent, ding, or damage this Nerf bar. It's not really designed for that, so let's treat it right. So the second thing is, if you are stuck in the mud, do not hook a recovery strap onto this machine anywhere but the 4 recovery points. You may think, oh, I see a good area, I can hook it on right here. Oh, that looks pretty firm. Please do not ever hook a strap anywhere, and never hook a strap to this to get the machine out of the mud. the first thing I think you should do is lay the mast back, spin it around in travel mode. That equally distributes the weight, so you've got a better chance of maybe getting out of that stuck position that you're in. And then when you go to get a strap, use the recovery point tie down to hook to this machine. And it may be awkward. You may not be able to get to just the right angle, but pretty much if I've got that point and I've got a trajectory out this way with the strap, that's going to be the best scenario to get you out. Now, if you need to go a trajectory that way because your machine's over that way or whatever, you just have to use these recovery points. So another way to damage the machine if you don't use it properly. All right, so a couple things to note. What I'm showing you here is this is a diesel motor, so it has glow plugs just like any other diesel motor. When you turn it on accessory, let that glow plug light turn off before you crank the motor over. That gives it the best chance of starting the first time. Second thing is talking directly to the HOTS mechanic from where I purchased a new motor at one point. They have it in their system that these machines run best at 2100 RPM. They can go up to 2800 RPM, but they are the happiest at 2100 RPM. The other thing to mention is that they're not actually happy in idle. So if you're gonna be letting this thing run all day long, like let's go to lunch and I wanna keep the motor warm because it's 14 degrees outside, don't leave it in idle. Keep it at 2100 RPM. He says it's just like another diesel engine where the EGR cooler and everything in that area can get clogged and it just basically builds up particulate. So happy spot RPM wise, 2100. You can go up to 2800, but it is not recommended for all-day operation. It really would be, maybe say you need to get out of a mud hole and you need some more RPMs to really get the tracks moving a little bit quicker. Whatever the case may be is, keep it at 2100 RPM. That's the place where it's the happiest. Thanks. Okay, so another way to damage the machine and or possibly yourself is to not pay attention to loosening bolts. All of the bolts that are in high areas of vibration typically have these wedge washers. There are two washers designed together, and you'll notice on the outside there is a fine print charade, but on the inside there is actually what we call like a fat charade. So the fat charades need to touch each other and the fine charades need to be on the outside. So that is a highly engineered lock washer that you wouldn't think there's a lot going on there, but it's a very expensive piece to replace and it's doing a lot. It's designed to compress, so there's actually kind of a cup to the washer and there's bite on the outside and on the inside. So everything when it compresses is actually trying to spring out, which causes it to not want to spin loose. And then there's gears, you know, the fat wedge like I was talking about on the inside is actually binding against itself. That is great, but things still can loosen up over time. This right here is a 80-pound object that if you weren't paying attention to the other side of this, let's say that you did great, you tightened this one super great whenever you put the head in, but the other side you didn't tighten great enough and slowly these started backing out. But as you're operating the machine, you can't necessarily see it from this side that those are starting to back out. Well, this jaw will actually start to get kind of loose, and if it gets backed out enough, then that jaw will come out and that head can fall down. Well, what if this thing is 20 feet, 15 feet above you? You have a hard hat, but I'm not sure if it landed just right that you're in good shape when that thing hits you in the head. So safety-wise, check for loose bolts. Always have your eye open, looking for anything that loosens up. You'll see these wedge lockers in different areas of the machine, but things loosen up. It's a heavily vibrating object. So keep your eye out. Look for things as you're running, especially if you rented this thing for a month and you're on a massive job every day. Do a daily walk around before you start looking for loose bolts that are starting to walk themselves back. That's another way you can damage this machine by not paying attention to it and or hurt yourself. Okay, another way to damage this machine. So as you'll notice, when I was raising the hammer, it goes pretty fast in the up position, but I slowed down when I got to the top because it does not have a brain to stop it when it gets to the top. And when you get close to the top, you want to slowly stop. That's only really if you're doing 16-foot exact height piles, where you need every inch out of this thing as possible. But if you are going to raise this hammer, you got to slow it down and stop it yourself. Otherwise, it'll come to a abrupt screeching halt and you're metal on metal and it's going to damage or break something. So one more way to damage this machine is by not paying attention to what you're doing and just raising it up as fast as it goes until it abruptly stops. Okay, another way to damage this machine. It's going to be really tempting, and maybe you're used to running a machine and doing it the way that you want. And out in the field, sometimes whenever you're putting I-beams into the ground, it's possible that they might be off a little bit and you're like, hey, I can use the foot of the machine to kind of bump it and bend it back. Please don't push on the pile with this machine. If you're going to do any of that, please do it at a later time with a skid steer or something else on site. Don't use the machine to push and pull on it, because all of these joints, I mean, you've got a couple thousand pounds right here and it's already hanging off of this by 2 bolts essentially, and then there's some hydraulics involved, but it's not designed for that extra push and pull motion. It's designed to lift a pile up and to drive it back down in the ground. So please refrain from bumping the piles, because that's just another way to damage this machine. All right, so one more way to damage this machine, or at least be extremely abusive on it, is let's say that I've got to travel, I'm done with this row and now I've got to go to the next block and travel a long ways away. Just go ahead and put the mast in the down position so it's in the travel mode. This is a lot of weight, and whenever you start running across a site, sometimes there's some serious undulations and ditches and things. Well, if you're to hit a ditch or an undulation, well, it's going to be a lot less abusive on this 2,000 something odd pounds that wants to move around. So just lay the mast in the down position whenever you're traveling across the job site. Life is going to be good and it's going to last a lot longer. Appreciate it. Thanks.